Hi everyone, Jodie here from Thrive Law, and today I'm here at Thrive HQ, which will be changing from October. We're currently in number 9 and we're moving to number 15, and the idea is that when we do come back to work gradually, or have the option to come back to work, we want to just freshen up the office, and we've realised that we're completely paper free now, so we're just having a complete declutter, getting loads of nice plants, painting the office and just making it a really nice place to be. So moving forward, we will continue to work 100% remotely with the option of coming into the office as and when people want to. It was a decision taken together as the team all work really well from home, but also we really have seen the benefit of home working, not just for the business, but for each individual in terms of our mental health and our productivity. So that's going to continue, and we're adjusting our processes accordingly. But we have noticed that we're now completely paper free, which is amazing. So we were really paper light prior to lockdown, and now we're completely paper free, which we're really, really proud of. I was recently appointed to the Law Society, which is really exciting because it means I'll be at the forefront of doing some of the most amazing decision making and policy advising areas around employment law. So that's coming up, and that's a 3-year term which starts this month. And we're also going international. So I'm speaking at a global legal disruptors conference in Prague. So we're getting out there, we're keeping super busy, and we're also supporting local and virtual online events here in the UK. One of them that's coming up is on the 24th, and I've done another video which you can have a look on my IGTV and YouTube for more information. But save the date, it's on the 24th of September, and it's called She Has No Limits. It's available for men and women, and you can book your tickets today using the link in my bio or in the description below. So lots of things happening at Thrive. Like I say, you're going to meet some of the team, you're going to start to see more videos, not just me, but everybody else. If you've got any questions or you want to know more about any of the events, then do get in touch with us and we'll pop the email below. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So this is just a quick update on some specific employment law changes that happened in August of 2020. Firstly, we finally received some clarification on the rules on notice pay and redundancy pay during furlough. Jodie has actually already done a video on that, and that will be linked here. We also saw an update on the rules of wearing face coverings within the workplace. It's become clear that you have to wear a face covering to and from work, but not actually whilst you are in the workplace, as long as you are following the relevant social distance. There is a bit of a lack of clarity here though, so actually it could be legitimate for an employer to ask an employee to wear a mask whilst walking around the workplace and just take it off at their desks. We also saw the furlough bonus being announced in July, and the points of it were clarified quite a lot throughout August. What we now understand that bonus is £1,000 for every member of staff which is kept on after furlough until January 2021. So this is actually a really interesting point, and probably the most interesting thing we saw in August of 2020. So to qualify, an employee must have been paid a minimum of £520 per month between November and January, and must remain employed until the end of January 2021. To qualify, employees must have also have formally been furloughed and also cannot be under their redundancy notice. The actual portal to claim the bonus doesn't open until February 2021, so I'm sure you'll hear a lot more from us around that time. It's quite interesting actually, because our biggest issue with the bonus scheme is that we don't actually see the point at Thrive. We've actually done a whole blog on this topic that will be linked here, but our problem is that we don't really understand what it's for. Those people who are going to remain employed were going to remain employed anyway, and a £1,000 bonus isn't necessarily going to give any impetus on many employees to keep people employed who are already at risk beforehand. If employers ultimately can't afford their employees and have to look into making redundancies, actually, is this bonus going to make any difference? Probably not, but we'll have to wait and see what February brings. That's it for August. It was actually quite a quiet month. It usually is, because of obviously the schools being on holiday, MPs aren't in Parliament as much, and obviously add that to the coronavirus and the fact that people are only just adjusting meant that there weren't a huge amount of changes in employment law. However, we will have more updates for you next month. Thank you, bye.
Hi folks, this is just a little video on settlement agreements explaining what they are and exactly what they entail. So with settlement agreements, This is typically where an employer will pay an employee in return for their agreement not to pursue any specific employment tribunal claims or even court claims against the employer. Disputes are often settled prior to proceedings beginning in order to stop employees from making a claim or taking an existing claim any further. And the agreement is only legally binding if a solicitor or a legal advisor advises the employee on the contents of this and they agree to it. These agreements are often conditional, as employers usually expect that employees do not disclose any details surrounding that of any payment made, as well as any details around their employment coming to an end. And if this is breached, it could potentially negate any agreement that has been agreed to in a settlement agreement. It also means that once this is agreed to, an employee is waiving their right to bring forward any claim or court case against their employer. In order for a settlement agreement to be legally binding, it must meet the following criteria. So it must be in writing, number one. Number two, it must be in relation to a particular complaint or proceedings of some form. The employee must have a legal advisor advising them on the terms of the settlement agreement. And they must make sure that all regulations and statutory conditions regulating the settlement agreement have been met. In terms of the criteria put forward, this is more so speaking on a general basis, as settlement agreements can be quite specific, and so it will all be dependent on whatever is in the settlement agreement itself. Once a settlement agreement is received by an employee, they should typically have up to 10 calendar days to review over this, unless the parties agree otherwise. And once a settlement agreement has been reviewed and signed by all parties, it then means it's a finalised and binding settlement agreement. Finally, this takes me on to the benefits of pursuing a settlement agreement rather than taking a claim onto an employment tribunal or to court. So you have to remember, with settlement agreements, you at least have the reassurance of walking away with something, subject to the agreement being finalised and confirmed. Whereas with an employment tribunal, there really isn't any predicting as to how it could go or how much you could receive. You could walk away with nothing. Employment tribunals are long and they are stressful. So in terms of COVID, this has added a backlog onto everything, but employment tribunals usually take a minimum of 27 weeks. That being said as well, credibility is questioned, you have to provide documentation, and it can be a really expensive process when you are looking at solicitors' fees and barristers' fees. And finally, settlement agreements aren't made public in comparison to employment tribunal claims, whereby judgments are published online and they are available for anyone in the public domain to read and review. I hope this video has been helpful. If you would like to speak to a member of our team about some of the services we provide, or if you think you have a claim and you'd like some free initial advice, that is something we offer, you can get in touch with us at inquiries@thrivelaw.co.uk.
Hi, so I'm here to talk to you about a new blog on the Kickstart scheme. So you'll all know by now that there's a Kickstart scheme being released from the government. This is aimed at young people to get employment and get them out of unemployment. So it's aimed for people from 16 to 24 years old who are currently on universal credit and are at risk of long-term unemployment. So we've recently done a blog covering this, and we've actually split this up into how this can affect employers and how everything you need to know from an employer's perspective. And then we split it into everything you need to know as an individual, so a young person who can benefit from this scheme. For employers, the blog goes into more detail of what is a Kickstart scheme. So it's a £2 billion funded scheme from the government to help raise jobs and get rid of unemployment within young people, help people gain experience, get them back on the job ladder. So what does this mean for employers? So this means that you can hire young people to work at your place of work, at your business, and the government will pay for their wage at minimum wage for 6 months' time. So it's a 6-month placement. You can keep these individuals on for longer than the 6 months' time. However, this is how long the funding will last for. You need to be on universal credit and be at risk of long-term unemployment. So for employers, the applications are now open. So the application is in fact one that you can get from our blog. So if you go into the blog, that you can find all the links there to get to your application. So any firm can actually apply. So any business at all, any size, whatever you do, any business can apply. There is a criteria to the scheme. Any employer can apply, however you do have to be able to provide 30 job placements. So of course, if you aren't big enough or you don't have this many placements available, you can in fact come together with a group of employers to make sure that you meet the requirement to have 30 placements. So that means that a couple of employers can come together and make those 30 placements. But that is up to you to organise. Once you do find that group of employers, you can actually nominate one person to be the representative of those group of employers, who will then make the application on their behalf. The representative will need all the employer's details, all the details of the job description, and everything else that they need to know in terms of what kind of experience they're going to gain, etc. So that's kind of for employers and the application process. There's actually a lot more details on our blogs in terms of what does the scheme cover. So national insurance, minimum wage, employers' national insurance, that sort of thing. So that's some more details on there, some more resources, links for you to follow in there. So all the information is there for you and takes you all to the government website for everything else that you need to find. So as you know, the government have released this kickstart scheme, and it is actually aimed at young people 16 to 24. So it's actually a great way right now for young people who are leaving uni and they really need to get into the job sector that they want to be in. And obviously right now it's really hard, as it normally is anyway. Now it's even harder with obviously businesses struggling. So this scheme is a really good scheme. Is a great way for young people to do so. And if you are between the ages of 16 and 24 and you are currently unemployed and you're on universal credit, then 100% take advantage of this scheme. The offers and advertisements for these job roles should be coming in around November. However, more information will be provided. So on the blog that we have written for individuals, we have gone through the Kickstart scheme and some information for individuals. So placement for 25 hours per week. It's minimum wage for your age group. And you will be selected and interviewed in a normal way for a normal job. Nothing should be different in that respect. What you should expect from the role is you should expect loads of experience, support with your CV, support with building new skills. It is one of the requirements that there shouldn't be too much training involved. So we would really encouraging people to take advantage of this scheme and make sure that if you're at the job centre, this is something that they will raise with you. If not, make sure that you're job hunting regularly, you're on LinkedIn, etc., as these things will come up and employers, I'm sure, will make those jobs visible to you around November onwards. So how can Thrive help you? So if you have any questions in terms of the scheme, in terms of anything else, any inquiries that we can help you with, please send us an email and we'll be happy to help. Thank you so much for watching.
Hi, I'm Annabelle and I'm a paralegal at Thrive, and I wanted to chat with you today about diversity and inclusion. At Thrive, we like to think of ourselves as truly diverse and flexible. Our culture, our people and our shared values make us who we are. An example to show how we've attracted a more diverse workforce is through our home working. Even before lockdown, we would have permanent home working, and we were allowed to have flexible working, permanent remote working. So that's just one way that we have implemented diversity and inclusion into our workforce, because if you are disabled or have children or have any protected characteristics that require you to work at home, we'd already implemented that even before lockdown, but since lockdown it's going to be even further put into our business. Thrive, we believe everybody should be able to thrive in the workplace, and we work with employers specifically to enable them to look after their employees' well-being and any specific needs that an employee may have, such as a disability or in gender or in their sexuality. As a firm, we promote workplace equality by ensuring that we empower others with knowledge on how to achieve an inclusive and diverse workplace, and by practicing what we preach. Ways that we've implemented this into Thrive is by having a Black Lives Matter helpline. We've supported women who we know have been adversely affected by the COVID-19, and we have a She Has No Limits conference later this month on the 24th of September. Our MD, Jodie Hill, is a mentor for other firms as well as the SRA, hoping to get equality at the top of the agenda for other firms. Also launched Thrive Wellbeing, which is an online interactive platform to create a healthy and inclusive workplace. It offers expert guidance and support on mental health in the workplace and how to become a mental health champion. We're also offering a 50% discount for anyone who would like a free trial for the month of September, so only about 2 more weeks left. If you'd like to trial it, please do get in touch with us.